Even a man that is pure of heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to day 15 of the 31 days of Halloween. We're almost at the halfway point, and tonight in North America and into tomorrow, depending where you live, we have a hunter's moon, which also this year happens to be a super moon. So it's very bright, and it'll be at its brightest tomorrow night, and its fullest. But tonight we were driving home, and I couldn't help but think of, as I saw the beauty of the moon, two movies that, well, really one, and then its remake, that are profoundly wrapped up in the mythology, in the folklore, and in the relationship that human beings have with the moon. And that is, of course, two classics. One a modern classic, I think, although sadly it didn't do as well as I wanted it to. And the other a classic. Nobody will argue that. So the first we, of course, have is 1941's The Wolfman, starring Lon Chaney Jr. and an appearance by Bela Lugosi. You also have the great Claude, the Invisible Man Rains, in there as well. In the original movie, what's so unique about The Wolfman is that with Dracula, you had it based on my favorite novel, Bram Stoker's Dracula. And then you had, with Frankenstein, it was based on Mary Shelley's novel, Frankenstein. And then here, with The Wolfman, you have no literary background. I mean, you have no novel, you don't have a play, you don't have anything like that it's based on. But what's, I think, really interesting and relevant about The Wolfman, in a way Dracula is too, is that there were people at the time this movie was made, and even today, that still believe in the folklore that was the basis for the movie. So the belief in the werewolf, and that's in every culture. I mean, it's not just in, Eastern European culture. You see it in Native American culture. You have a skinwalker. You see it in the Chinese and other Asian cultures have their versions. And of course, the world has many different variations on that same theme, right? But it's interesting how they're all the same creature in a lot of ways. Same with the vampire. And then when we get to the Wolfman, specifically the werewolf, or a person that walks like a man but is wolf, you have here in our culture, here in South Louisiana, in the Cajun culture, the loup-garou or the rougarou, depending on where you're from. And it's a kind of a swamp werewolf of sorts. And not something that, we here in South Louisiana, we're not all right centrally in a swamp. It's not like Waterboy. There are some people that are very close to a swamp or have camps in the, nearby in the marsh or whatever it might be. But we don't, we live pretty far away from that. But the loup-garou could, of course, leave those areas, but it was kind of tied to that. So this is the werewolf, and this idea of lycanthropy is something that is universal. And the same was true of vampire mythology. I mean, there were people, again, that believed in vampires and still went through the rituals necessary to either prevent somebody from becoming a vampire or to kill a person who already became a vampire, and to prevent from any attack by a vampire. And then the same with the werewolf. You had people who, and still today, you have people in some parts of the world who still believe the old ways, the old superstitions, and perhaps they're not. We, in 2016, believe science has given us a reason to believe that there's quite a bit that is unreal or impossible. But I personally believe there's quite a bit we don't know. So anyway, 1941's The Wolfman is, I think, again, one of those movies that, yes, it's in black and white. A lot of people today don't seem to like black and white, but it is, I think, very relatable in that you have, first of all, Lon Chaney Jr. as Larry Talbot, and he plays a character who's very relatable, very likable, and because of that, he is somebody who, when the things that happen to him happen, which are not fun or good, you feel for him, and that's important in any horror movie. You got to have feeling for the characters, otherwise it's just, like a bad slasher movie. You're just waiting to watch people get killed. And so you have great performances, you have a character that's very likable in a situation that I think we all can identify with, and it all goes to crap, right, as is what horror movie or a drama does, and so that's where the story is. I think the black and white adds to the creepiness of it and to the atmosphere, and it's got a nice gothic setting, and you have, of course, have also Bela Lugosi, Claude Rains, you have a great cast. And then in the remake, 2010, despite some trouble behind the camera, you have Joe Johnston, who directed this film, and you have the great Rick Baker, who did the special effects. He, of course, is a legend from the late 70s, early 80s, and until now, as far as special effects work. He did the tremendous and still to this day disturbing transformation scenes in An American Werewolf in London, which is another great werewolf movie. And so you have him on this movie, and he wanted to do practical effects. The studio said, we need more CGI. And of course, the studio usually is wrong and stupid, and that was the case here. So sometimes the CGI is a little overdone. I mean, you can tell it's not real. But Baker's makeup is tremendous, and Benicio del Toro as the Wolfman, he's almost pretty much there as far as the hairiness and the kind of animalistic quality he has. So you also have the great Sir Anthony Hopkins as the father of Larry Talbot, and Emily Blunt as well as the love interest. So the remake also has more gore, which I kind of like because I always thought the Wolfman should be kind of a violent character, given that he is, a wolf creature that's going around killing by night. So these are two great movies that if you're able tonight to watch a scary movie by yourself, or if you have kids, hopefully they're going to be asleep, and put on either the original 1941 The Wolfman, which you can get on Amazon Prime, or the remake of The Wolfman, 2010, also available on Amazon Prime. Streaming, I don't think there are any other sites or services that have those two movies as of now, unfortunately. So your best bet is with Amazon Prime to watch those. Of course, YouTube has them, and you can, if you have a smart TV, you can watch them through YouTube on your TV. So that's another option. Or on your phone, if you watch movies on tiny screens. I can't do it. I'm too old school, kids. So that does it for day 15 of the 31 days of Halloween. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a great night. And maybe keep some silver nearby. Good evening.